Hi, my name is Ron Renner. In this INRAC tutorial, we are going to look at unit-based accounting in General Ledger. This video will cover what unit-based accounting is within INRAC's General Ledger, how to set up unit accounts in your chart of accounts, how to format in your financial statement in order to display a unit or perform a calculation based upon a unit, how to interface payroll hours automatically, and a summary. Unit-based accounting in INRAC utilizes unit accounts in addition to your normal dollar accounts. Balance sheet accounts do not zero out at year end. Income statements do zero out at year end, and I've used these the most. Unit accounts give you a convenient way of tracking quantities. Unit accounts can be static or dynamic. Static accounts don't change or change infrequently, and we use a balance sheet account for these so they carry over to the next year. Examples might be square feet for each division, which can give you a cost per square foot, or shareholder stock, where we could have the number of shares per shareholder or shares in total. Dynamic units change often, and we would use an income statement account for these. This might be the number of hours by division, which will help us generate a revenue per man hour or profit per man hour or something such as that. Or we could use the number of transactions divided by division to generate an average sale. Let's take a look at a unit account in General Ledger. I've gone into Master File Maintenance in INRAC, clicked Change, hit the drop down, and up here you can see our normal accounts where we track dollars. Down here we can see a number of unit accounts have been added, and it is suggested to add the unit accounts at the end of your chart of accounts just to keep them separated, but you don't have to. You could intermingle them if you wish to. And in this case, account 511.1 up above is the actual account for Minnesota dollars. And to generate a unit account, we simply added a 1 at the beginning, making it longer, but you can still tell where the dollars are located simply by looking at the account number here. And INRAC's General Ledger has an 11-digit account number maximum, so you can really come up with whatever you want. So we have a unit account for each of the 5 divisions, plus the field divisions, plus 1 for a shop division, and a contra account, which really just captures the total of this. The system will feed this automatically, and the debit for quantities go in here, and the credit goes into here. Let's pull up one of these accounts and take a peek at it. Normally, you set up an account to be a balance sheet or a P&L or income statement account. Here, we can choose whether to have a balance sheet unit account or an income statement or P&L unit account. So really just selecting 4 here creates this to be a unit account, which, as it is a P&L account, will zero out at the end of the year. Zero out on the to-date values, I should say. All the prior values remain intact, so you can do reports on this month this year compared to this month last year and so forth. Let's take a look at what this looks like in a trial balance. I've brought a working trial balance up to the screen, gone to the last page, and here you can see the end of our normal dollar accounts with a zero proof. Continuing on down, we have the unit accounts that we looked at, and here you can see a U tucked in for unit. So this is what it looks like on a working trial balance. Some sample unit accounts could be number of labor hours by department or location, and these can automatically generate in payroll. Number of rooms rented for a hotel, motel, resort type firm in a month. Number of customer transactions, which might come from a cash register system. A unit account can contain any value you can quantify. The only limitation I can think of is 2 decimal positions, and I've never really run into an issue with that. Benefits of unit accounts are the value of the unit account may provide you with valuable information. Month-to-date and year-to-date quantities compared to last year or budgeted units are available. Using the unit account as a divisor in a financial statement can give you per unit values. Some example of these per unit value statistics could be revenue per man hour for the service division at a construction firm, sales per man hour for the meat department at a grocery store, labor costs to see the cost to clean each room in the hospitality industry. And you'll be able to watch your own trends. With a financial statement generator, you can compare this month with this month last year, compare year-to-date with year-to-date last year, and do some really insane things with the financial statement generator. Let's look at a financial statement which has man-hour information on it. I brought up the combined divisional income statement showing different columns for different states, in this particular example, with a total, dollars, and percents of the total revenue line. And if I scroll down, we'll see some per man hours analysis at the bottom. This line, the bottom one, shows the year-to-date hours for the field, and these come direct from the payroll system automatically. The line above uses this value here, the year-to-date hours, as a divisor into total revenue to generate the revenue per man hour line coming across. Let's take a look at the financial statement generator formatter in order to see how this is done. I've opened the Design Financial Statement program within Interac on the setup, maintenance, and general ledger, and moved it to the part of the design for this financial statement which deals with the year-to-date hours and the revenue per man hour. And first, we're going to take a look at the year-to-date hours because that's what's used as a divisor with total revenue to generate the revenue per man hour. So we'll look at this first. That's controlled right here. And first we are using a column control line in order to establish our left to right structure coming across. And if you haven't worked with the financial statement generator, this may not make a lot of sense to you. And it takes a couple hours of training really to learn how to use this. But if you are familiar with working with financial statement generator, this should be pretty straight on. Open up this column control line, and first we have a description right here, and then we have to-date value right here, year-to-date value, space, year-to-date value, space, year-to-date value, space. And for to click a drop-down, we would see that we have many choices, and our column widths down below. So we're established the structure coming across. To generate this very first value right here is really the next line down, year-to-date hours for the field. And we're going to note that this is line 26,500. We'll be referring to 26,500 later. This is going to be our divisor line for right here. 26,500 will go into it. And you can see it's simply retrieving the value from our unit accounts, 1511.1. And if we were to look at each of these other values here, we would see that they would have the other division values, except they would have a 2 to print in the second column, a 3 to print in the next column, and so forth. So I'm going to cancel, and we can see that this line 26,500 is pulling from this unit account, and that's what's generating this value right here. So I'm going to cancel. This is a little farther up in the statement, so we're going to scroll up. Again, we're using a column control line to generate our structure for here. And instead of pulling the to-date values like we have here, we add 200 to it. Instead of 20, we have 220, and we're using 220, 220, 220, which takes this value and divides it by whatever the divisor is. I'm sorry, takes this value and divides it by the divisor. And you need to know that this line here is being sent to this line here. So we're sending total revenue down to this line. We could send gross margin if we wanted to, or whatever we wanted to send here, but in this case we're sending total revenue to this line. And if I come over to revenue per man hour and open it up, you'll see the divisor is 26,500, which is this line here. So that's what generates the per unit value. Again, if you aren't familiar with the formatter, this probably is a little Greek. And again, it takes a couple hours of training to learn how to use this, but then you can really pretty much do whatever you want and get your statements to look however you want them to look. And you're really more limited by your imagination and what you come up with than what the generator can do. We've seen unit accounts and how they are used to generate values on a financial statement, but where do the units come from? What are their sources? You could import them from another system with Interlink. For example, you might pull in from a POS system. You could import from Excel, interface with Interact's payroll, or manually journalize them in General Ledger. If you decide to use payroll as a source for hours, we use the print distribution report, which can generate hours by department or location to General Ledger. We set the distribution report to update the unit accounts in GL, and this can be job streamed through your normal payroll process, which can make it totally automated. Let's take a look at a distribution design. We are back in Interact, and I've moved into payroll, and we'll go to setup maintenance and design a distribution report, which is what we use for creating overheads or burdens from payroll. I'm going to call up an existing design I've made, hours by department, and we will go through it. First we'll look at columns. Our first column is going to be a multiply column where we take total hours, field 113, and we can find that down here, total hours. You can see we have many other things we can use for generating overhead. Total hours, our heading, and the key here is we're going to multiply it times 1. So we're going to take our hours, multiply it times 1 to create our output. And system requires a totals column, and so our totals column is going to be simply column A, our total hours. And we're done with columns. We'll come to distribution, and we can distribute to quite a number of things, but we're going to choose to distribute by department because we want this to go to General Ledger, departments to go to General Ledger. And we want it to create General Ledger entries, and we can give it a source code. And here is our contra account, basically where our totals are going to go. And if you recall, we did see a contra account in the chart of accounts we looked at earlier. We don't care too much about a report here, hours by department. We don't need anything extra to happen. We're not doing things by state industrial code or workman's comp. We're not doing things by union, but we are doing things with departments. So here are the field departments for what we saw, each division, and various other departments which comprise the shop and yard, that type of thing. So here is where we point out the values which happen in the various departments in payroll to the correct account in General Ledger. That's really all there is to it in the design process. Once you've designed it, from that point on, all we really need to do is print it. Print distribution report. Again, I'm using the basic interface, so your screen may look different if you're using the enhanced interface, but we would choose our design, which file we want it to go to, and interface it. Again, with the job stream, this could be an automatic process. In summary, you can use unit-based accounting in Interact to generate statistical information useful to you. You can watch for trends in your firm or client firms. Utilizing using accounts coupled with financial statement formatting is reasonably easy to set up and is very automatic once set up, and can print as a subschedule to your financials or can be incorporated throughout. Unit accounts can be directly retrieved into Excel via VisualLink. You could also use Interlink to create an an Excel file and import it in, but VisualLink makes it very direct, and this gives you excellent graphing capabilities. This video has just scratched the surface of what can be accomplished with unit accounts. It's already built into your general ledger, you just have to use it. Unit accounting capability is one reason firms license Interac.